Next, we will have Alpha Video. And who do I have from Alphabet? That would be Mike, right?
Yep.
Okay, awesome.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for
Okay.
attending this conference and giving us the opportunity to meet with you today. I'm Mike Powell, and I'm from Alpha Video. For those of you that aren't familiar with Alpha Video, we are a systems integrator based out of Minneapolis, actually Eden Prairie, Minnesota. We've been in business for over, 50 years now, so since 1970. So we've been around for a long time. We cover a number of verticals, everything from our broadcast sports division, doing arenas that are now empty due to COVID and that sort of thing, to working with schools and, of course, PEG and government work. Today, I'm bringing along Trish McGray from Link Electronics to talk more about closed captioning. Daniel had alluded to it earlier this morning about Trish and her Link Electronics product. And so what I want to do at this time is really turn it over to her so she can go with a presentation to cover some of the basics of closed captioning, as well as getting into some of the latest trends and what's going on in closed captioning, and kind of go from there. So if we could switch it over to Trish and have her take over, that would be great.
Perfect. Good morning, everybody. Hopefully everybody can hear me all right. Thank you so much, Mike, for the introduction. But like he said, I'm Trish McCrae with Link Electronics. We're located here in Branson, Missouri. We have been manufacturing broadcast equipment here for over 30 years. And our main focus has always been captioning equipment. So today I'm going to switch over and share my screen here because I get to talk about my favorite subject, which is captioning. So I'm going to share my little presentation screen and get this going. So with everything that's going on in today's world, one of the things that we have to kind of think about is setting up captioning in that virtual setup. So today I kind of want to go beyond the basics of captioning, what we've traditionally been used to, and see how we can handle captioning in this new norm. Before I get started though, I always like to talk about the basics just so that everybody has a really good understanding of captioning in general. So just as a couple little quick things, I want to just kind of talk about 608 caption data versus 708 caption data. 608 caption data is your analog data or line 21 captions. Your 708 caption data would be your digital. The other thing that I always like to mention is the difference between closed captions versus open captions. So closed captions or encoded captions, those are the ones that are embedded into the video stream, and you're able to, on your TV at home, push your little button on your remote, turn it on, and then turn it off. Whereas open captions or decoded captions, those ones are burned into the image. They're not going away whether you want them to or not. So you want to be aware of both of those different formats and captions as you're kind of looking at your workflow and what you want to do. The other thing I always like to bring up, and there's a whole bunch of just text on this screen, are the regulations that we want to look at when we're looking at captioning. The two organizations that kind of give out the rules would be the FCC and the ADA. The FCC, you can see they have some rules, basic rules on accuracy, latency, where the captions should be, things like that. All of it's kind of vague. It doesn't give you a lot of information as far as exact requirements. And there are a lot of exceptions to FCC requirements for captioning. So a lot of people fall under an exemption, so they feel, oh, I don't have to caption. ADA, on the other hand, is your organization that wants to make sure that it's accessible to everybody. So whether you're providing captions or a sign language interpreter, something of that method for you to be able to communicate to everybody and for everybody to be able to participate. So those are your two regulations that you want to make sure that you kind of have at least a general understanding of when looking at captioning requirements. Couple different methods for captioning that I want to show you. One is through human transcription. one is using cart stenography. So on that left side of the screen, you see that person typing on a stenograph, a shorthand typewriter, basically, that's sending caption data to a captioning encoder and then broadcasting out or to a screen. The other way is on the right-hand side, that's shadow speaking. So she's got kind of like that Darth Vader mask going, where she's actually re-speaking what she's hearing, and it turns that voice, her speaking, into text and then into caption data, sends it just like the other way, sends it to the encoder for the person, for the caption data to be broadcast out. Another method, and what a lot of people are really getting interested, is automated captioning. Now, automated captioning is, in general, most systems are speech recognition. And I want to kind of talk about the difference between voice and speech. So voice to text versus speech to text. Voice to text, like what we saw with that shadow speaker, that system is trained to her voice. If anybody else tried to talk into that microphone, or if she got sick and her voice starts to change, that system's no longer going to be able to recognize her algorithms of her speaking. Speech to text, on the other hand, is speech in general. That algorithm is trained to acknowledge anybody that's talking. So it's really important to have that type of technology when you're looking at an automated system, to make sure that you're not having to train the system to each and every one of your speakers that's out there. Next, I want to kind of look at some of the workflows, some generic workflows of how captioning kind of would fit into your system. I always try to use embedded SDI. There are many other ways to be able to connect and set up your workflows, but embedded SDI seems to be, with majority of our clients, the standard that goes around. So just as a really quick workflow for broadcast captioning, you have your SDI input with your embedded audio. That audio is going to go to your automated system or your captioner, and then you have that embedded stream going to your encoder. Caption data then gets sent up to your encoder from the captioner or automated system back to your captioning encoder. That marries the caption data up with your audio video stream. From there, you have different outputs depending on what you want to be able to do. You have your decoded or open caption output for monitoring captions, and then you have your closed caption output for sending out to your local cable channels. Couple of things that you have to note whenever you're looking at broadcast captioning going to cable. If you are doing down converting and going from HD video down to analog, make sure you check your down converters. There are many different down converters down there that do not pass closed captions. The other thing is, do you love HDMI and you have HDMI everywhere? Captions don't. Or on the other hand, I should say, HDMI doesn't love captions because it will not pass closed caption data. So once you've added captions, anything after you've added those captions in your workflow needs to be caption friendly. So when you're looking at captioning, make sure you're checking your equipment for anything after caption data has been added, that it is going to be caption friendly. The other option, if you are running into a situation where you need to use HDMI, whether it's up on a monitor or a display in a room or some piece of equipment that only will take HDMI and you can't change that, another option would be open captions, but it's not always the best option if you're trying to broadcast out to local cable, things like that. You probably don't want to be using burned in captions where they're there all the time. Another thing that we're trying to transition over to, and a lot of people have moved from, instead of broadcasting out to a local cable channel, is streaming. So this is just a really simple, again, workflow for streaming. Taking your SDI feed and switching it to streaming to your YouTube Live or Facebook Live or Vimeo or to your CDN like Wowza, whatever you're planning on doing with your captioning. So simple workflow, SDI going to your captioner or your system. The other feed's going to your encoder, your captioning encoder. That data gets sent back to your encoder. via RS-232 or Ethernet. And then you need to take that SDI feed that now has your caption data on it and send it to a compatible MPEG encoder that's going to keep caption data that will then disperse it out to all of your fun places that you want to be able to stream to. And like I said, that is just one example of how people are streaming and how you can add captions to it, but it is a very common method to be able to add captions to your system. But a lot of people haven't transitioned to just streaming or just broadcasting, and you're in this world of hybrid in-house, in-house meetings and virtual meetings, and maybe you want to have, maybe you have different locations where you have overflow for your city council or city council participants, people from the general public that you're allowing to go in, but you have overflow rooms that are not generally set up to be able to show captions and have audio and all of that. So you kind of have to have this weird setup of being able to do all of that. And it is absolutely possible. It's just making sure that you kind of think through your workflow. So this is just a really quick sample of broadcasting and streaming and having your in-house monitors displaying your captions in-house, and maybe even sending those captions to a cell phone and broadcasting your captions to a cell phone. So you have all of these different options based on how you want to set up. And what about those web meetings? So we're going to keep adding to the needs of adding captions. So not just broadcasting, not just streaming, but what about these meetings that we're having? This Zoom meeting, for example, maybe we need to caption it. It is very simple. A lot of these web meeting sites or programs have that ability. Teams and Meets, Google Meets. Zoom has a great application to be able to add captioning. You can see on there, if you've ever tried out Zoom captioning, there's a couple options there. One is it says to assign somebody to type. I encourage you all to try at one point in time to type what somebody is trying to say with your standard keyboard. They'll last about 1 minute and then give up because they're not going to be able to keep up with a standard speaker. The other option is to use that API token that's down in the bottom there. That API token can be used to send an audio to a live captioner or to an automated system. And then using that API token, it'll send that caption data right back to the meeting for the participants. So for example, and I always like to kind of talk about this when we're looking at it, we can have captions for a live meeting and we can have captions on your live streams. I call it participant versus viewer captions. So a participant, obviously, if you're discussing and talking, you want to be able to, the person that is participating in the meeting needs to be able to see those captions. Generally, you're going to see a latency of about 3 to 5 seconds. So they're able to easily follow along and ask questions and be able to participate in these types of meetings. The other one is a viewer. A viewer, because when you're streaming to your, or streaming your video to YouTube or Facebook or wherever you're sending it to, there's usually a delay, 30 seconds, a minute, sometimes a little bit longer. And with that delay, that also is going to be a delay in captioning. So by the time the person that is needing those captions is viewing it, the discussion has probably changed 2 or 3 different times. So now they're having to go back and redo this discussion, and rehash a discussion that's already passed. And so it's really important to really think through who needs these captions to be able to participate and who's just viewing them. So you want to be able to provide both of them if at all possible. And it is possible. So how do you do it? You've got live broadcasts, you have streaming with viewers and participants, display screens, cell phones. What about all of that post-production content of uploading your videos to YouTube or Facebook after the fact so that way you have your archives or to your website? And what about Spanish translation? That is a huge question that a lot of people are asking. They've hit the point of being able to caption in general, but now they want to go beyond that and they want to add a different language, Spanish or French or whatever is locally spoken as a general second language. I hit the wrong button here. Sorry about that. There we go. Let's get to my next screen. There we go. Now we're back on. So yes, it can be done. With a live captioner, you're going to be sending you'll have your captions for your web meeting. You send your audio to your captioner. You may send a second audio to a translation captioner who will be able to caption that data and send it back. Then you send that data over to your captioning encoder. Then it's going to display out and stream to your local broadcast or to your displays with open captions. So yes, it is possible to do that using a live captioner. I didn't add a third live captioner for participants because some of these web meetings have that ability to caption live without having to go to a human. But for example, Zoom, you're either using an automated system or a captioning service. So you have that as well. So you can be adding more cost and a little bit more confusion if you're trying to do a bunch of different things all at once. So I'm going to go to my next page because this is the ACE 2000s system to be able to do all that I've mentioned plus some. So with our ACE system, this is the user interface. In a few quick clicks, you have the ability to have your Zoom meeting captioned, multi-language captioned. Si je hablo español ici ou si je parle français, the system will be able to detect those language changes and caption in those language changes, and even translate those languages back to English. So that way, if somebody's speaking Spanish, the system will translate it to English, so you always have English captions, or you can have an English speaker translating to Spanish captions. So you have multiple different methods to be able to handle multi-language situations. Our system is going to create a CC1, a true closed caption 1 for your primary language like English, and a CC3 for your secondary language, both of them going out simultaneously to your captioning encoder and being broadcast out. We also have the ability to do speaker identification with all of these different meetings out there. Unless somebody puts their name up on the screen or is able to identify themselves, and especially in hybrid situations where you have some in-house and some web meetings, you're having to coordinate who's speaking and being able to put up, IDs of some sort. Our system has the ability to recognize a speaker and put their identification tag up with who's speaking and what they're saying. We also have audio detection of music and applause and laughter. We can direct stream from the system. So if you're only streaming to YouTube and to your website or whatever combination you're doing, you can send your stream directly to the ACE system, our automated captioning system. It will caption it and send that captioned video stream to your locations. You give it the direction of where it needs to broadcast out to for you. And there are multiple, you can broadcast to multiple places all at once. And at the end of every single event, when you're finished with your captioning event, the system's going to create a folder with all of your caption files. So you can pull that caption data and upload it to your Vimeo or YouTube for your video archives. So you have all of that capability all in one system with a few clicks of the button. This is just a really quick video that goes over how quickly I can set up a multi-language event for Zoom that will send out caption data to my Zoom meeting, as well as to my streaming and to my local cable broadcast, all at the same time with translation. So I'm selecting all of my different features. I select my language. I'm going to choose different speakers speaking different languages. I'm going to choose English and Spanish as the languages being spoken. And then I'm going to go over and choose, there's my applause and laughter and music. All of my inserters, so my CC1 for English, CC3 for Spanish, translation using Google or Amazon, and sending that caption data all to Zoom as well. And we're now captioning. So we'll take a look at it here and see what captioning is going through in the system as if it were live. And it is live. So there you have it, your English, your Spanish, and then your Zoom meeting all being sent out simultaneously from one unit, giving you caption accessibility for both participants and viewers. And the best part of it is that all of this can be done from home or virtually. Our system is set up to be accessed through a web user interface. So for you that are having to work remotely, you still have full access to the system to schedule live events, work post-production video content, and be able to do everything that you need from wherever you're working. And with that, I will start going through some questions. I try to fly through my presentations as quickly as possible to have more time for questions and comments so that everybody has time. What can I answer? I don't know if I've got some questions coming up on chat or anything. Does anybody have any questions? Mike, if you have any thoughts?
Oh, go ahead. If someone's got a question, by all means, go. Okay,
No.
since there's not any questions, I'll just mention something. We recently did a project for the city of Lincoln in which we used this product. And what the nice thing about it is the way we set it up. We set up the captioner with actually a router in front of it, because what the city needed to do was caption multiple channels at one time. And so one of the things we did is we set up the system so it can be remote controlled, not only the link captioner, but also the routing system, so we can route the correct feeds both in and out to go to the master control system. And and so you don't really have to buy. It's not necessarily to buy a captioner for each channel that you're going out to potentially. And so we did this in Lincoln, and we're actually feeding 3 separate channels going out. Another thing I just want to mention too is this system also has post-production capability as well. Options for post-production. There's actually 3 different versions: of post-production one, a live one, and then one that is a combination of both. And so I just wanted to just kind of put that out there as well.
And the newest addition to our caption family is a multi-channel system that will actually take in multiple feeds all at the same time and caption them simultaneously and send them back out. So if you're a station that is responsible for 4 channels, we can take all 4 of those at the same time live and caption and broadcast them back out. Actually, we can do 8. So a huge benefit for groups that are trying to send out multiple channels or events simultaneously.
Yep, that really comes in handy if you are doing multiple live events at the same time.
Exactly.
In the example I used with Lincoln, it's primarily there's just one live captioning event going on at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? And Mike brought up a good point about the post-production. Our system, you can just set up a watch folder, and with that watch folder, you can put it on your local network, and you can have multiple watch folders set up for different departments or groups. So you don't all have to use the same input folder. Everybody can have their own little setup. It will all end up in the same system. It'll caption it automatically at about 10 to 12x, so a 12-minute video done in about a minute. And then it'll output. You have 35 different file formats to choose from, whether it's SRTs or Word documents or text files. You can still have that speaker ID in those files as well. So you have multiple different options for your output, and it does that all automatically. So you can throw 1,000 videos into that watch folder, and the system's going to automatically detect it and just start processing through and creating captions for each one of those videos.
What are some of the cost factors for studios for the system that you have?
So our system is a one-time, you buy it, you own it. Start your own captioning company. You can do it whatever you want with it. Caption 24/7, 365. That's the beauty of this unit right here. This is actually our ACE 2200 system. It's a 2-rack unit server. You connect up to it, put it on. You can put on a 24-hour schedule if you wanted to. Kick it on and forget about it, and it'll just run whatever you send to it. And there's no minimums, no maximums. Like I said, you buy it, you own it. And the only additional cost would be if you wanted to continue the warranty after the first year. And our warranty is one of those like bumper to bumper, full coverage, 24/7, 365 support. We handle everything, setups, customizations, the whole 9 yards. We're with our customers anytime they need us.
So what was the cost then?
So it depends on the system that you're looking for. It can range all the way down from the basic, the post-production only system runs at about 28,000, all the way up to the all-in-one system that runs at about 65,000. So depending on what you're doing and what your needs are, you have that option. All of the systems are upgradable. So if you can't go for that big, Cadillac, you can start off with just post-production or just a live unit and always upgrade it to have that all-in-one system for you to be able to do both live and post-production. It does it, and it'll do it simultaneously. There, you don't have to choose which one you're using, but you can have everything all in one unit running for you.
And like you said, there's no residual cost on a yearly basis then once you have that product, correct?
It is optional for the warranty. After that, it's just you. It is a perpetual license. So once you've bought that license, you are good to go forever and ever.
Awesome.
And I also just wanted to mention too that they package with their encoders as well.
Yeah.
As part of the package, not only just the captioning box, but the encoders as well. And one other note too, if you want to do some comparisons between the cost if you're currently doing live captioning or that sort of thing, Link Electronics on their website has a nice little ROI feature where you can type in some of that data and they can kind of show your return on investment and that sort of thing.
Absolutely. So, yeah, because a lot of times when I say that number, when I say those numbers, people go, oh,
Yeah.
because they don't realize what their monthly is when what their monthly cost is when you say $1,200 a month or $1,500 a month or $2,500 a month for captioning. It doesn't sound like a lot, but you start doing the math on that, you will pay for a system in our average is under 2 years that our clients pay for a unit. After that, your funds that you're putting towards that that operating cost. By the way, this would be a capital purchase versus operating, but all of that money gets to go towards something else that you need, whether it's new cameras or microphones or chairs or desks or arrays, whatever you're needing to have. It is now, that opens up a lot of funds, and that's huge for groups that are working on a really tight budget, and those budgets don't get bigger.
That's
Hey,
for
Trish,
sure.
What's the,
Go ahead. Whoever that was, go ahead.
it's Scott. I was going to ask what the life expectancy of the system is. If you put it in a capital budget, are we going to have to replace it in 5 years, 10 years, somewhere in between?
Here's the beauty of it. With the warranty, like we've had the system out in the field for almost 5 years now. I think we've had one failure, and it was due to lightning. Lightning hit a building and destroyed all of their equipment, so we did a replacement on it. This is the beauty of our warranty and why I call it a bumper to bumper. Let's say 5 years down the road, the motherboard fries or the hard drive crashes or something happens to the unit. You call us, whether it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 2 o'clock in the morning. We are going to send you out a brand new system. If we cannot fix your system with same or better parts, you keep the brand new system. That is how our warranty works, and that's why the coverage is so great. Again, you don't have to have it, but when you're talking life expectancy on a system, if you have that insurance to be able to get a new system if something goes wrong, that removes that worry of, well, in 5 years I'm going to have to replace it anyways. You're not going to. You will always have the latest and greatest, because our warranty covers all the software updates, hardware updates. And by the way, when you buy our system, you buy all of the features. So I was talking about translation and multi-language and different language packages. With our purchase of our system, it's an all or nothing. You buy the ACE unit plus the features and our support, or you have nothing at all. So you're not having to buy like tiered packages. Oh, well, if you want to do this, you got to pay for that. If you want a language package, it's an extra such and such dollars. You get it, and you get it all. And you also get all of our updates. We just released out another major update that had some additional features to it. One of them that I think is really great for being able to monetize your captions is having a sponsor message before and after your event. So if you wanted to have groups pay for that ability to show that they're supporting your captions at the beginning of your program, you can have it set in there that it says captioning brought to you by Burger King or whoever, and be able to use that to monetize your captioning.
Hey, Trish, I got one really quick one for you because
sure.
we do have to wrap up. But do you offer languages other than Spanish?
Oh, yes. Yeah. 15 different languages and variations within those languages. Even in Spanish, we have 5 different variations, European, US, of different areas, Central, South America. We're all over the place.
Is Hmong one of those?
Hmong, unfortunately, is not one of those at the moment. We are constantly adding new languages. We added Dutch. We added different variations of English this year, Canadian, British, Caribbean islands, Indian English. So we've added a bunch of different language packages, and we are constantly working on new ones. And a lot of those are based on our clients' needs. So if Hmong is a major requirement for our customers and we need to work with them, we created language packages. We've created language models for like Xbox, where they gamer names and stuff. So we can handle that. That's what we do. We're a true customization system for our clients.
I would just say, being one of the pockets in Wisconsin that does have a large Hmong population, that would be a good addition to make for some of the people in this crew. But that's all the time that we do have for you. So thank you guys so much. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.